Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Supreme Court calls triple talaq the most undesirable form of dissolving marriages among Muslims. Chief Justice J.S. Keher compares the practice to capital punishment. Delhi High Court upholds lower court order on Young India income tax officials to investigate dealings of the firm that has Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi as stakeholders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes part in International Vesak Day celebrations in Colombo. In his address at the biggest festival of the Buddhists, Modi re-emphasizes traditional Buddhist connect between the two neighbors. Election Commission meets political parties over the electronic voting machines and other electoral reforms. Parties get 2 days to hack EVMs. And Trump administration blames Pakistan for its deteriorating relations with India, warns that another high-profile cross-border attack could worsen the situation in 2017. While continuing its hearing on the practice of triple talaq, the Supreme Court on Friday called it the worst and most undesirable form of dissolution of marriages among Muslims. Chief Justice of India J.S. Keher, who is heading the 5-judge bench, compared the practice to capital punishment. Former Union Minister and senior advocate Salman Khurshid, who is assisting the court in his personal capacity, told the bench that it was not an issue where judicial scrutiny was required. He also said women had the right to say no to triple talaq by stipulating a condition to this effect in the Nikah-nama. The court also was informed that countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Morocco and Saudi Arabia do not allow triple talaq as a form to dissolve marriages. Several Muslim women have challenged practice of triple talaq, saying it was discriminatory against gender justice and dignity of women. The Apex Court began hearing on the issue on Thursday, where it said that it will first examine whether the practice of triple talaq was fundamental to Islam.
जो एक समय में 3 तलाक देने की प्रथा है, क्या वो उचित है या अनुचित है तौर पे इस पर इसके विभिन्न जो पहलू थे उस पर आज चर्चा हुई और मैंने बताने का ये प्रयास किया कि ट्रिपल तलाक का कोई औचित्य नहीं बनता है और क्यों नहीं बनता है उसके सारे उदाहरण और उसके जितने भी जो भी उसके विषय थे वो सब मैंने कोर्ट के सामने रखे।
मेरा ये मानना है कि 3 तलाक और बहुविवाह और हलाला ये पूरी तरीके से महिलाओं का सम्मान का मामला है, ये महिलाओं की डिग्निटी का मामला है। इसलिए सभी राज्य सरकारों को आके सुप्रीम कोर्ट में रिटर्न में बताना चाहिए वो इसके समर्थन में है या विरोध में है।
Well, the Delhi High Court on Friday upheld a lower court order on income tax proceedings against Young India Limited in the National Herald case. Young India had approached the High Court seeking a direction to stay the IT proceedings and quashing of notices against it. The court asked the company to approach the income tax assessing officer, after which the firm withdrew its petition.
Young India, a company where Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi are stakeholders, will be investigated by income tax officials. The Delhi High Court upheld a lower court order declining to stay the income tax proceedings against Young India Limited in the National Herald case.
Today, the Congress party had filed a writ petition in the Delhi High Court. Let me make it clear that the learned division bench of the Delhi High Court has given full liberty to the petitioner, not the Congress but the Young Indian company, to raise all the objections raised in the writ petition before the assessing officer, including most importantly the objection regarding absence of reason to believe to reopen the assessment. The order was passed and consequently, I repeat consequently, we withdrew our petition with that liberty to raise all those objections before the assessing officer. We will now await the assessing officer's decision in accordance with law, and in those proceedings we'll be raising all the objections raised today in the writ.
At the heart of the case is Associated Journals Limited, the publisher of 3 newspapers including the National Herald that was founded and edited by Jawaharlal Nehru before he became India's first Prime Minister. In 2008, the company shut down with an alleged unpaid debt of about $15 million. Sonia and Rahul Gandhi are accused of setting up Young India Company to buy the debt using Congress party funds, even though Associated Journals allegedly had real estate assets worth at least $335 million, which would have cleared the debt.
It's a culmination of my complaint, which was given in July 2014. And in my main matter, I said that by fraud, cheating, conspiracy, criminal breach of trust, they acquired this National Herald Company, Associated Journals Limited. But the fact that they said that they gave loans to National Herald for running the paper was from Congress party funds. Now that was a violation of the income tax law, because income tax law says you can use the funds only for political purposes, not for commercial purposes.
In January 2016, the Gandhis won an appeal to be exempted from personal appearances in court. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, an all-party meeting was convened by the Election Commission to discuss the reliability of EVMs in Delhi. The Commission also sought views of political parties on the proposed challenge it plans to hack its EVMs. All the 7 national and 48 state-recognized political parties are meeting. The Aam Aadmi Party claimed that its proposal of holding a hackathon was rejected by the Commission.
The Election Commission on Friday convened a meeting of political parties to discuss the issue of electronic voting machines and other electoral reforms. Leaders of all 7 national and 48 state-recognized parties participated in the meeting, which saw a debate over the definition of hacking. The Aam Aadmi Party, which has been leading the opposition charge on EVM hacking, claimed its proposal of holding a hackathon has been rejected by the Commission.
इलेक्शन कमीशन ने कहा है कि नहीं, हम हैकेथन शब्द से ही सहमत नहीं है, हम हैकेथन कॉन्सेप्ट से ही सहमत नहीं है। हमारी मशीन में तो नेटवर्क होता ही नहीं, तो हैकेथन का तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है, और एक अलग तरीके के अपने कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट में एक चैलेंज कराना चाहते हैं। मुझे लगता है कि ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है।
A detailed presentation on security features of EVMs was also made by the EC to prove that the machines were tamper-proof. The poll panel also said that it was highly likely that 2019 Lok Sabha elections would take place in the VVPAT format. 16 opposition parties had recently told the Commission that it should revert to the paper ballot system, claiming that the faith of the people in the machines has eroded.
4-5 अलग-अलग विषयों पर चर्चा हुआ। उसमें चुनावों में जिस प्रकार की ब्राइबरी होती है उसको लेकर है, और चुनाव में जो चंदा दिया जाता है उसको लेकर है, और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वोटिंग मशीन को लेकर। शुरुआत में ही इलेक्शन कमीशन ने कहा कि आगे जो भी चुनाव होंगे वो पेपर ट्रेल के जरिए होंगे।
This is the starting point. They have assured us that VVPAT is going to be there in every election now. The next general election of states which are going to take place will all be through EVM VVPAT. But again, EVM VVPAT means with these 3 additions which we are saying: transparency, verifiability and authenticity.
ये जो टेक्निकल जो व्यवस्थाएं हैं, जो इंतजामात है, ये चुनाव आयोग के तहत है। हम बोल रहे हैं ये पूरे प्रक्रिया को जो निगरानी में, मतलब स्वतंत्र जो संस्थाएं हैं, स्वतंत्र जो इलेक्शन कमीशन के अधीन नहीं है, ऐसे टेक्निकल एक्सपर्ट्स को भी उसको छानबीन करने का कोई जगह होना चाहिए।
We are strongly demanding that the old system ballot papers should be introduced again. And regarding bribery and other issues, we have said that state funding is the only issue to resolve all these cases.
वीवीपैट अगर हो, ट्रांसपेरेंट सिस्टम हो, तो वीवीपैट शुड नॉट बी अ प्रॉब्लम। उससे 100% समझ में आएगा कि किनको वोट दिया है। लेकिन उसमें भी ये बात है कि जिसको वो काउंटर फॉइल मिलती है या जो दिखाई देता है वीवीपैट मशीन पे, वो उनके पास एक काउंटर फॉइल मिलनी चाहिए।
Government must come forward to spend the money for the election campaign, and also that way even ordinary persons, independent members or even small parties can contest the election. Therefore, that has to be taken.
The EC also offered political parties the chance to prove that EVMs used in recent polls were tampered with. Days before the meet, the Aam Aadmi Party had staged a demonstration on hacking voting machines in the Delhi Assembly. The EC had trashed the claim, saying the machine was a look-alike and not an actual EVM. The poll panel intends to use VVPAT units attached with EVMs in the coming elections for greater transparency. The Union Cabinet had given its nod to sanctioned funds of nearly 3,200 crore rupees to procure more than 60 lakh VVPATs as sought by the EC. With inputs from Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, mustard is closer to be India's first GM food after India's central biotech regulator, the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, cleared it for commercial cultivation. The proposal now needs to be cleared by the Environment Ministry. While many have listed benefits of GM crops like higher yields and reduction in pest attacks, many experts have also argued against it.
Dhara Mustard Hybrid 11 could become the first GM food crop to be cultivated in Indian farms, if approved by Environment Minister Anil Madhav Dave. The GM mustard has been developed by a team of scientists at the Delhi University. It is argued that GM crops give higher yields in comparison to normal crops. With shrinking land, GM crops will generate more crops. It is also expected to provide strong built-in resistance to help reduce the use of pesticides. GM crops can also be modified for better flavor and quality.
So the point I'm making is that if you want to introduce a technology, you have to consider all aspects of it. Is it good for the farmer? Is it safe for the environment? Is it safe for human and animal health? And do you have regulatory procedures in place, systems in place, that will help you to take care of any potential damage that might be caused? See, every technology has to be judged from the perspective of why it started. I mean, scientists, when they start something, they have good intentions.
However, the approval of the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee has been vehemently opposed by environmentalists, anti-GM groups and even the RSS-linked economic policy think tank Swadeshi Jagran Manch. The issue of genetically modified crops has been widely debated across the world. 38 countries, including the European Union and Africa, have banned cultivation of GM crops, while only 28 actually grow these crops.
न तो ये स्वास्थ्य के लिए उपयुक्त है, न ये पर्यावरण के लिए उपयुक्त है, हमारी बायोडाइवर्सिटी को नष्ट करने वाला है। विदेशी कंपनियां जिनका ट्रेड्स वो लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, अभी तक उन्होंने ये नहीं बताया कि उस कंपनी के साथ उनका समझौता क्या हुआ है। यानी देश को अंधेरे में रखने की कोशिश हो रही है। हर्बिसाइड्स डाले जाएंगे, राउंड अप डाले जाएंगे। जो हर्बिसाइड्स हैं वो कार्सिनोजेनिक हैं, कैंसर को बढ़ावा देने वाले हैं, ऐसा WHO ने कहा है।
The GM mustard is only the second food crop to get clearance from the central regulator. The GEAC had earlier in 2010 cleared the BT brinjal, but the decision was not accepted by then Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh. Currently, only BT cotton, a non-food GM crop, is commercially cultivated in the country. With inputs from Leena Sharma and Kriti Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, moving on now, Pakistani troops violated the ceasefire along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir on Friday. Pak Rangers resorted to firing and shelling along the IB. According to the BSF, the ceasefire violation took place in the Arnia sector. One BSF Jawan has been injured in the firing. BSF troops posted along the border retaliated. This is the second ceasefire violation along the Indo-Pak border in Jammu and Kashmir in as many days. Earlier on Thursday, Pakistani troops shelled civilian areas near the LOC in Jammu and Kashmir, killing a woman and injuring her husband and provoking retaliation by the Indian Army, in which 2 Pakistani soldiers were injured. Schools in the area were closed and an evacuation plan was activated, under which over 1,200 people from various border hamlets are being shifted to safer places. Here's a look at what else is making news from across the country and nationwide. The Delhi High Court upheld a trial court's order framing charges of tampering of evidence against real estate barons Sushil and Gopal Ansal in the Upar fire case. A bench of Justice Siddharth Mridul held that there was adequate material before the trial court that justifies framing of charges against Ansals and others. Sacked Delhi Minister Kapil Mishra is on an indefinite hunger strike ever since he challenged Aam Aadmi Party leaders to declare the source of funding for their foreign trips. This was the third day of Mishra's hunger strike. He said that he will continue his protest despite doctors saying he needs to be hospitalized. President Pranab Mukherjee will present the National Florence Nightingale Awards to nursing personnel at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on International Nurses Day. The National Florence Nightingale Awards are given by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare as a mark of recognition for meritorious services rendered by the nurses and nursing professionals in the country. But it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
We have been saving people in terms of accurate forecast and warnings, etc. At present, as you know, that earthquakes cannot be predicted. We are doing a lot of work on that aspect also to understand the earthquake processes in the Indian subcontinent. I personally feel maybe after 20 years or 30 years, there could be some way of predicting earthquakes.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Madhavan Nair Rajivan, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday wrapped up his two-day visit to Sri Lanka, participating in the Vesak Day celebrations. He spoke of shared heritage of Buddhism between the two neighbours. He also announced starting a direct flight between Varanasi and Colombo. Later in the day, he inaugurated a multi-speciality hospital and addressed the Indian origin Tamil community in Dikoya, where he called for celebrations over the diversity between Sinhalese-speaking population and Tamil-speaking people in Sri Lanka.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Colombo, participating in the International Vesak Day celebrations, the biggest festival of Buddhists. Vesak marks the birth, enlightenment and the passing of the Buddha. It was officially recognized by the United Nations in 1999. Modi, who was the chief guest at the festival, was received at the Bandara Naike Memorial International Conference Hall by Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe amid traditional fanfare. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena was also present. In his address, Modi re-emphasized the traditional Buddhist connect between the two neighbors, adding that Buddhism's message of peace could be a guiding force during these violent times.
Menace of terrorism in our region is a clear manifestation of this destructive emotion. I firmly believe that Buddhism's message of peace is the answer to growing arc of violence all over the world.
Modi said India and Sri Lanka will strengthen ties in trade and economy and also cooperate in various fields including transport, energy, agriculture, education, health and power.
Free flow of trade, investment, technology and ideas across our borders will be to our mutual benefit. India's rapid growth can bring dividends of the entire region, especially in Sri Lanka.
The Prime Minister also announced direct flights between Colombo and Varanasi from August this year.
This will ease travel to the land of Buddha for my brothers and sisters from Sri Lanka and help you directly visit Srivasti, Kushinagar, Sankasa, Koshambi and Sarnath.
After the Vesak Day celebrations, Prime Minister Modi inaugurated 150 crore rupees super speciality hospital at Dikoya.
The hospital has been built with Indian assistance. Prime Minister Modi also later addressed the Indian origin Tamil community at Tikoya. Invoking MGR and Muthaiya Muralidharan in his address, Prime Minister Modi congratulated the Tamil community for their hard work and said that Sri Lanka has benefited from it.
We need to strengthen, not separate these threads of unity and harmony. And you are perhaps best placed to lead such efforts and make your contribution.
Prime Minister Modi's visit follows an invitation from President Sirisena aimed at reinforcing the traditional connect between India and Sri Lanka. This is Modi's second bilateral visit to the country in 2 years. He last visited the island nation in March 2015. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Trump administration on Thursday blamed Pakistan for the deteriorating relations with India. It also warned that the situation might worsen further if another high-profile terrorist attack emanated from across the border this year.
Addressing U.S. lawmakers at a congressional hearing, Daniel Coates, the director of U.S. National Intelligence, blamed Islamabad's perceived support to extremists and its failure to make any progress in the Pathankot attack investigations for deterioration of bilateral relations last year. Coates felt that relations became more tense after 2 major terrorist attacks in 2016 by militants who crossed into India from Pakistan. He said the situation could worsen this year if another high-profile terror attack is orchestrated from across the border. Supporting India's precondition for bilateral talks on Islamabad stopping support to cross-border terrorism, Coates said that increasing number of cross-firing along the line of control, including the use of artillery and mortars, might aggravate unintended escalation between the two countries. Testifying before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, along with the top intelligence officials, the Trump administration member further felt that only a sharp reduction of cross-border attacks by Pakistan and progress on the Pathankot probe alone can improve matters. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. South Korean President Moon Jae-in on Friday scrapped a plan to introduce state-issued history textbooks at schools. Moon said that the order to the Education Ministry is based on his belief that history education should not be politicized. Many historians and teachers had opposed former President Park's plan to introduce textbooks edited by the government in middle and high schools. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull says that he will consider a NATO request of more troops to be sent to Afghanistan. Australian troops in Afghanistan worked in Afghans' war against the Taliban, the remnants of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State and other Islamic groups. Australia currently has nearly 300 troops in Afghanistan for training and advising Afghan forces. Brazil ended its public health emergency for the Zika virus on Friday. The mosquito-borne virus causes birth defects like babies born with skulls much smaller than normal. Brazilian government recommended that pregnant women shouldn't travel to affected areas. WHO, however, has warned for precautions of Zika. Around 100 American and Filipino soldiers performed disaster response drills in Nueva Ecija province on Friday as part of the Philippines and US's annual joint military exercise. This is a significant reduction in scale to 5,000 troops from last year's 9,000 troops. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte allowed this year's military drills with condition of non-combat tactics after declaration of his will to end all military exercises with the US. Let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some news from around the world of sports and Sports Beat. Olympics bronze medalist woman wrestler Sakshi Malik assured herself of a silver medal after reaching the finals of the Asian Wrestling Championship in New Delhi. The 24-year-old from Haryana defeated Ayolim Kasyamova of Kazakhstan to enter the finals, where she will face Japan's Risako Kawai in the finals. Rafael Nadal advanced to the quarterfinals of the Madrid Open after beating Australian Nick Kyrgios in the third round. The Spaniard, fourth seed, sailed comfortably with the 6-3, 6-1 victory. Defending champion Novak Djokovic, meanwhile, reached the semi-finals without hitting after his quarter-final opponent Kei Nishikori withdrew before the match due to a wrist injury. Manchester United reached the final of the Europa League after surviving a huge late scare against Celta Vigo in the semi-finals. Leading 1-0 from the first leg, United took control as Moran scored the opening goal. The Spanish side, however, equalized in the 88th minute, setting up a final tense minute. United will face Dutch giants Ajax in the final. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.